The last lap of the Lokpal bill in the Rajya Sabha was unbelievably smooth. It was passed by a voice vote. It was opposed in the House by only one party, the Samajwadi Party, which staged a walkout. The other outfit to oppose this bill was Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party, even as Anna congratulated the Rajya Sabha MPs for passing this historic anti-corruption legislation. Kejriwal insists Anna is being misguided. The divide between Anna and his former supporters seems complete.
नरेश जी बैठ जाइए प्लीज. Members are requested to adhere to party time. House is adjourned till 12:00 hours.
Lokpal's last lap in Parliament began with all eyes on the SP. The threat to disrupt the discussion looked real up till this time. Mulayam's men walked out, leaving the House to pass the anti-corruption legislation.
इस पाप में समाजवादी पार्टी भागीदार नहीं बनेगी, इसलिए हमारी पार्टी इसका विरोध करती है और सदन से बहिष्कार करती है, बहिर्गमन करती है.
Inside the House, there was near unanimity in passing the bill, which has been hanging fire for 46 years.
The essence of this legislation is that the investigating agencies will be independent. The appointment of the CBI director will be done through an independent, transparent process. All public functionaries would be under the Lokpal bill.
इस कानून आने के बाद निर्णय की प्रक्रिया सुधरेगी. लोग डरेंगे गलत कारणों से निर्णय करते वक्त.
How can you have a Lokpal that will not investigate a private body that indulges in corruption in order to obtain a license?
As parliamentarians debated in the Rajya Sabha in Ralegaon Siddhi, Anna continued his fast that began on the 10th of December. The Gandhians lost 4.6 kgs in the last 8 days. Anna wrote to Rahul Gandhi on Sunday thanking him for his open support to the bill. Rahul wrote back to Anna a day later, reiterating his commitment to get the bill passed.
समाजवादी पार्टी को छोड़कर सभी पक्ष और पार्टियों ने इस बिल को जो सपोर्ट किया है, इसलिए जनता के तरफ से मैं उन सबको धन्यवाद देता हूं.
However, critics pointed key differences between the Jan Lokpal and the bill before the parliament.
अन्ना को कौन लोग समझा रहे हैं मुझे पता नहीं. अन्ना ने जो 3 मुद्दे कहे थे कि भाई ये कम से कम 3 मुद्दे होने चाहिए, यानी कि सिटीजन्स चार्टर, वो नहीं लाया गया है. सारे राज्यों में लोकायुक्त, वो नहीं लाया गया है. और जब उसको स्वतंत्र जांच संस्था ही नहीं दी गई है तो फिर क्या फायदा है लोकपाल में?
The overwhelming support for the bill is a result of political parties wanting to show that they're concerned about corruption, and also because Congress wants the credit for Lokpal to go to Rahul Gandhi. What remains to be seen is if the bill is strong enough to make a real impact.
The bill as amended is passed.
Bureau Report, headlines today.
This morning we saw Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kamal Nath come out and say it is Rahul's will and desire to see the Lokpal bill passed before the end of the day. Can Rahul Gandhi legitimately take a large part of the credit in getting the Lokpal bill passed through the Rajya Sabha? Joining us on the first part of Centre Stage tonight, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, National Spokesperson for the Congress Party, and Pinky Anand representing the BJP. Where was this decisiveness, Dr. Singhvi, during the winter session last year, during the budget session this year, during the monsoon session? We haven't seen Rahul Gandhi or the Congress Party show any resolve at all. Suddenly, over this weekend, the Congress wants us to believe that this bill is going through and the people of India need to be grateful to Rahul Gandhi. Is this not unfair usurping of the credit now that the bill is going through, Dr. Singhvi?
There are many fallacies in the very approach and the question itself. First, assuming what you are saying is true, which is completely wrong, it doesn't matter so long as you discuss the result. Is the bill good? Is the result good? Number 2, for the last 1 year, please tell me, Rahul, how many parliamentary working days we've had? Let's not be facetious or hypocritical. Please ask the BJP how many working days it has allowed Parliament to function. Number 3, why should we not take credit? It is a Congress party, Congress-led, UPA-led government, which is after 46 years for the first time passing this bill, after a huge amount of controversy and a huge amount of difference in every clause. Rahul Gandhi is the leader of that party. which is the party in power in the government, I don't understand why should we not take credit. Did the
Why
BJP
should
pass,
the Congress
did the NDA
not
pass
take
this bill?
credit? It's only
Number
legitimate
four.
for any government, Pinky Anand, to take credit. Even though I must state to our viewers that this morning, when senior Congress leaders met with Rahul Gandhi, you had Kamal Nath over there, Kapil Sibal, Sandeep Dikshit, all of them were closeted in a meeting with Rahul Gandhi. There were those in that meeting, and I know this in good authority, who didn't want the bill to go through, who said, let's find some reason, firing over the Samajwadi Party shoulders to stall this bill. Rahul said in this meeting, no, the bill must go through. Now, this demonstrates, the Congress argues, Pinky Anand, that it is Rahul who's been pushing this bill, and if he hadn't done so, the Lokpal would not have been passed by the Rajya Sabha today. Is that not something the BJP is grudgingly prepared to accept?
Rahul, one sentence. And Rahul, one sentence. I can't comment on your very superior sources of knowledge. Please don't give this ex parte informal information.
No, this is not informal information. I was in Parliament all through the day. I'm speaking with very good authority on what my information is, but I want Pinky Anand to answer that question.
Rahul, let me just respond to this. You know, Rahul, it's a very, it's a position like it's center stage. The way you do it sometimes, to say here's everything staged and now we have the hero of the situation coming out and taking credit. I mean, that's what the position appears to be as far as the Lokpal bill is concerned. The Lokpal bill has been passed by the Rajya Sabha today after we are coming from 29 December 2011. In fact, not even 2012 I'm talking about, when the Rajya Sabha was adjourned and it was not allowed to be passed, ultimately sent to the select committee. But you know, this whole facade of trying to say that Rahul Gandhi can take credit because the Congress wants to position him for leading the UPA in this issue of crisis after the assembly elections and the debacle that the Congress has had, I think everybody can see what the whole situation is about. The Lokpal bill has come as an effort of the movements which have been made, and in fact the credible part of the Lokpal which has been put in is based upon the objections of the BJP. But having said that, what the UPA wants to try and establish is that Rahul Gandhi suddenly is projected by Super Steam forward to try and take the credit for this Lokpal bill, in which he has had ultimately no say right from the beginning. And even at this point of time, it is only projecting him for the purposes of future benefit for the elections to come, because he's already lost badly as far as the current situation
after the debacle in the assembly elections, Rahul is feeling the pressure. Therefore, the Congress is desperately trying to get bills like the Lokpal through so that Rahul has something to save face with. Is that not a reality, that you've been so shattered by the debacle that you are now in a hurry trying to do what you should have been doing over the last 4 or 5 years, which you didn't do? You allowed a policy paralysis to come in. Now you want Rahul to take credit for whatever goes through.
You know, there's a whole amount of skepticism and cynicism out there, and I can understand quite easily why you want to pitch it as a devil's advocate with extreme skepticism. I can tell you that the people in the world doesn't look at it like this. You still don't answer the question. All your questions are about form, manner, timing, not a word about substance. So that's the first point. It's a good thing. Please let Ms. Pinky Anand's party take the credit. Please let the common man take the credit. A good thing has happened. Number two, Rahul, and very importantly, I think the trajectory and the history of this bill has not been understood. This had a huge amount of controversy. The BJP was opposing tooth and nail very many of the provisions which are now being passed. There were several parties opposing it, collectively and individually.
Even now, Dr. Singhvi, you have given in to the objections of the BJP, and most valid objections that were made.
No,
it is not a situation by some objections by BJP.
Let me give you the history. No, now I'm meeting your delay point.
Don't put it in the passing that it is just objections by BJP.
Run celebration.
Of course. This is what you have now agreed to.
Point. I mean, but none of these can't get away with this. Always saying that the timing has come about because there is this entire history. You can go back to 46 years, Dr. Singhvi.
One by one, please. Dr. Singhvi, is it not a reality that AAP's victory in the Delhi Assembly elections has spooked your party, which is why what your father wanted to do 4 decades ago is now being done because you're petrified about the impact that Kejriwal is having, and a discredited Congress is desperately trying to win some support on the street, Dr. Singhvi?
Look, Rahul, bigger forces and bigger persons than the BJP have tried to poop this party many times. This party doesn't get pooped so easily. Victory and defeat are part of the game. I think before, after and in future, BJP will be defeated many times, we will be defeated many times, and there will be victories as well. So let's not start drumming up. I mean, the way the BJP is tom-tomming this 3-state, 4-state victory reminds me exactly of what happened in September 03 when poor Mr. Vajpayee was persuaded on the strength of 3 state assembly victories, by the way, the same state assemblies as now, to prepone the election, and everybody, as they say, is history, everything else is history as to what happened in 2004 May. So yes, let them be humble in victory, let us be humble in defeat. To suggest that a Lokpal is a magic button to press to neutralize the AAP is another very, very shallow view of politics, is what I'd say. Politics is about much more holistic. You have to work on the ground in Delhi. We have weaknesses. We have several other states to work on. But to suggest that we pressed a button on the Lokpal and it came about, no.
Then
It's
Dr.
been
Singh,
there on
why
the
did we
anvil.
come out with this earlier? Politics is a holier
No, but
issue.
that's an important
Because
question,
this whole
Dr.
last
Singhvi, that
three
Pinky Anand
sessions-
asked.
Why
You had
suddenly
opportunities
Please tell me,
earlier. You
please-
had this opportunity all through
please
the
tell me
monsoon
in the
session,
last
all through
three
the budget
sessions-
session. You didn't show this sort of
One
urgency.
minute, one
Don't you
minute.
think people can see through that, Dr. Singhvi?
The select committee report came, and after that, tell me when you've had a continuous, decent, uninterrupted parliament session. Please tell me. There would be hardly a few days. Please ask the BJP, why did they not agitate
What have you had
instead
now,
of
Dr.
disrupting
Singh?
parliament?
Now you've had
Why did they not
almost no debate
agitate
on the
for
subject.
bringing the bill in parliament? This is the
There's no
first.
question.
This
There's
is
no
this is
question of
now.
disruption of parliament. When did you bring it into parliament? You can't put it on the disruption.
You
if any,
can't
which happened
blame
on
the
account of your
BJP,
action.
Dr. Singhvi.
No,
The Congress
Minister,
before
the
this
bill-
did
look,
not show
look,
any
it's
iota
a
of
property
urgency.
of parliament.
It's only now that we've seen
One
the
minute,
urgency,
When did
Dr.
you bring
Singhvi.
forward?
It's been the property of parliament for a long time, ever since the Lok Sabha passed it. The select committee came into picture. I didn't hear the BJP making a squeak or a whisper for the last 9 months. Why have we not brought this into the legislative business list? Because they were too busy disrupting parliament. That's the reason.
Dr. Singhvi, you please advise as to why the UPA government, which was in power, and today you have noticed how the bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha, and this is after, of course, some of the objections of BJP were taken into account. Why didn't you introduce it?
I am telling you that we could not introduce it because you did not allow parliament virtually to function at all.
No, okay.
And
I
there
don't
were
think
a
we are
few other
making
more
any
pressing
headway on
legislative
this
business
point.
which we
Dr.
passed.
Singhvi has
which
made
we
that
passed.
argument.
That-
It's not a
that
very
argument is not
convincing
going to cut
argument.
anyways,
But we want to leave it to our viewers to decide where they stand on this. I want to come to the second point.
Rahul,
Yes.
1 second, Rahul, 1 second. Let's assume that we passed it about 3 months late because the whole process is only about 9 months after the select committee. Let's assume we passed it 3 or 4 months late. What is the point you are making? What is this tom-tomming about? We
The point
passed it,
that
let's
we are
say, 4
making
months
is
late.
that Rahul
So
Gandhi
what?
now can't take
So-
credit
so
for passing
is
the
there a good
Lokpal
bill
bill
passed?
because you had an
We could
opportunity.
pass it.
This is the anger on the street
But
which is forcing the government's response.
Rahul, will the BJP take credit or will the government in power take credit? Did the NDA do this much also in 6 years? We passed the bill about 3 to 4 months late. Let's assume that.
Okay, so you
in 6
you
years,
admitted,
will the BJP make
you
any step to
admitted
pass
that there
the
was
bill?
a
Rahul,
delay.
please ask Dr.
No, I'm
Singhvi,
saying
why
you admitted it. How does
ultimately
it
is
make
it
a
coming
difference?
after
You
the
are
assembly
going down
elections
an alleyway
declaration?
which is completely
Let them
irrelevant.
explain this one
You
by
are
one.
going
How
down
does it
an
make a
alleyway which is
difference?
completely irrelevant.
Okay, Dr. Singhvi
It's
has
completely
conceded that
irrelevant.
there
Whether
was
we
a
passed it in
parliament
December
delay.
Relevance
or
of
4
Rahul
months
Gandhi's
ago.
got no other platform.
I want to come
but
now
comfort by
to
way
part
of
2.
this.
I want to come to part 2. Part 2 deals with whether
The
or
real
not the
question to ask
government
is their prime
Lokpal
ministerial candidate.
will bring down corruption or not. And I want to put that question first
No,
to
Rahul,
Pinky
1
Anand.
second.
Dr. Singhvi, you must allow me to moderate. You're jumping in on
Only
every occasion.
Half a second.
Okay, half a second.
Only
you have
half a second.
Yes, go on.
The question to be asked is not that we passed the national Lokpal bill after 4 months delay. The question to be asked is that for 15 years,
Dr. Singhvi,
why
let
the
Rahul
BJP
decide what
prime
question
minister
he's going
candidate
to
Mr. Modi
ask.
did not pass the Gujarat Lokayuk bill for 10 years or 12 years.
But
or
this
did
is
not
a
have
question,
Lokayuk
Pinky
for
Anand, that
12
will
years.
chase
That's the question
Narendra
to be asked.
Modi when he goes
That's
to
the question to be asked.
Uttarakhand and hectors Vijay Bahuguna for not passing
I'm trying
the
to
Lokayuk.
understand, I'm trying to hear
This is
your
a
question
question that
because
will
Dr.
chase
Singhvi is
Narendra
too
Modi. That he hasn't passed a powerful Lokayuk bill. He went and lectured Vijay Bahuguna in Dehradun, but he hasn't done so in Ahmedabad. It's a bona fide question. It's a tangential question, but a bona fide question to which you must respond.
No, you see, what is your question? The fact that the Lokayuk bill in Gujarat is not strong enough, is that your issue? I'm not sure where that comes from. As far as the Lokayuk is concerned, the act exists in Gujarat. As far as the appointment is concerned, you know where the procedures went, you know they went to the court. That is your answer for you ultimately. As far as Vijay Bahugana is concerned, there wasn't any Lokayuk act in place.
Okay, I want to come now to part 2. Dr. Singhvi, let's stay focused on our debate tonight. Part 2 deals with whether the Lokpal bill will actually reduce the level of corruption. Pinky Anand, stay with us for a few more minutes. Will Pinky Anand, and I put this question to you first, the Lokpal bill in the
Rahul,
after that it's being passed, will that bring down the level of corruption in your view? Will we see a big reduction in corruption? Will there be a marginal reduction in corruption? Or will there be no reduction in corruption?
Are you asking
Pinky
me?
Anand, there will be. I have this great belief in this entire polity which this country, which we belong to, the great polity that we have in this nation. I believe that the people of the country have woken up to the fact that we will not take this any longer. The major allegation against UPA has been the scams, the corruption, the kind of monies that have gone into various different directions, including the black monies which have gone abroad. So I think, we must have a faith in the system, and whether it will be the act itself, whether it will be the people's awakening in addition to what the act has to say, because law alone can never be sufficient. You need to balance it with social realities. So it is my belief that the current democratic process has woken up to a completely new awakening where you will not be able to tolerate any kind of misdoings by politicians, and that is where I think the bringing in of the Lokpal bill is extremely important at this phase of our awakening process.
Dr. Singhvi, will the Lokpal prove to be the panacea it is promised to be?
I think the answer is yes and no. The answer is yes, over a period of time, as a process, as a habit, as a development, as a culture, it will make a difference. Certainly not as a magic bullet or a magic button, and I think that is the first point. The second and more important point is that you have to remember not to raise your expectations as a panacea. The Lokpal is certainly not the panacea for several of our ills. We are already an over-legislated country. We are an under-enforced country. What it requires is enforcement, responsible, mature enforcement. And that is where the shortcoming lies. We have to work on it separately. All the number of Lokpal and whistleblower bills cannot make a difference to bad enforcement or lax enforcement. So I think that's where the balance has to be struck.
Pinky, there's also another subtext that's being played out over here, where we are seeing Anna Hazare now being reached out to by the Congress party in a desperate attempt to try and win Anna over to show down Arvind Kejriwal. Do you think this Anna Congress match is a match that's being fixed because of the threat, the new sudden threat that Kejriwal poses ahead of the general elections, Pinky?
Isn't the writing on the wall, Rahul? Do I really need to answer this? The move made by the Congress to approach Anna, the credit which Anna is giving to UPA, I mean, obviously the match fixing appears to be rather evident on the face of it. And as I said, today the people of this country don't need to be told what is there in reality. The UPA seems to find no other ground, because it has, Aam Aadmi Party has ultimately resulted in the anti-establishment regime run by UPA to come down. So what other responses to do but to try to beat them at their own game? So to have their mentor and to try and put an alliance with the mentor is what the UPA seems to be trying, but the game is clear in front of everybody.
An enemy's enemy, Dr. Singhvi, is a friend.
Yesterday there was no,
Anna was
meeting of minds, and suddenly
enemy number one for the UPA the longest time. Now because Kejriwal poses this new threat, you go and hug Anna Hazare. Don't you think people can see through this bonhomie?
I think you are reducing the Indian legislature, the legislative process, to a farce. So now the Congress, by the press of a button, can get a bonhomie with Anna Hazare, who is a man of his own thinking, who doesn't agree to 100 things, and also convince some 25 parties in Rajya Sabha across the spectrum.
Suddenly the Congress sees a lot of virtue in Anna Hazare, Dr. Singhvi.
That kind of uniformity, I think, I wish the Congress could achieve.
Rahul, exactly.
Secondly, and more importantly,
why suddenly has Anna become such a holier than thou figure for the UPA?
No. Second point, Rahul, let me complete. Rahul, let me complete.
Same stream.
No, Rahul, let me complete. The problem is that you've got the BJP's goat as to why Anna thanked us for passing the legislation. Well, do you expect, Rahul, that Anna will first thank the opposition for passing legislation, or will it first thank the government in power? After all, it's the UPA government, don't forget. However the BJP likes, BJP is not in power now. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Be that as it may, Dr. Singhvi, this is something that people see through. Rahul Gandhi suddenly getting pally with Anna Hazare. After all of what your ministers have said about Anna Hazare, don't you think people can see through the game that's being played? Is this not an attempt to try and bring down Kejriwal?
Anna Hazare is bound to thank the dispensation which passes the law which is dear to his heart. That's all that he has done. And I think if that has some sour grapes with the BJP, it's their problem. I don't think you expect that Anna Hazare would thank the party in opposition or the other parties first, and not the, although he has expressed his appreciation even for the BJP's
what Pinky Anand hasn't said but should say is that there was a letter sent to Arun Jaitley also.
Thanking Anna.
No, but do you think this is fair game, is it not? Since Anna Hazare has been leading the movement, Pinky Anand, it's only fair for Anna Hazare to praise the party that got the bill through. He's also thanked the BJP, but therefore no larger meaning should be read in this newborn army.
Obviously not. Obviously not.
Rahul, I think we are all seeing what is going on, so no doubt Anna has movement and full credit must be given to Anna for having started this movement. There is no question on that score. But the thanking of each other and patting each other on the back appears to be some kind of fixing there.
Okay, I have one final question for Dr. Singhvi before I end this center stage face-off for tonight. It is your father, Dr. Singhvi, who first thought of the notion of an anti-corruption ombudsman being brought into India. You know, this is a movement that you followed very, very closely. Your personal reflections of the day, you in the Rajya Sabha where you are, this bill finally going through. Do you think in the way that your father studied models abroad, in the way that it's been brought in, will it serve the purpose for which it is meant? Or is this just an attempt to try and win some brownie points, to have something to talk about ahead of the big clash for 2040?
Rahul, it's a serious question and takes some time, but I'll take less than a minute. I think you need to read the foreword I wrote to the Standing Committee report where I've addressed this question. I've said it's not a magic wand and a panacea, but it's a very great thing, it's a very good thing. It will start a culture of compliance in our country. And I think a lot of the issues are very technical, legal issues. I do regret that some of those issues have got brushed aside because of the politics and the theatrics of it, which has gone over the time. I don't agree that everything which we've done even today is good, because you have to be balanced in creating an institution. But on the whole, I think it's a great achievement. On the whole, I think that provided, with a final proviso, you choose the right person with the right balance and the right gravitas to be the Lokpal. The head is very important. And in its nascent stages, if it's built up, it will become a great institution and will create an absolutely different culture in our country. But for that, you have to take time. Institution building takes time. And that time we have to give it. And we have to support it and nurture it. Because our politics is very volatile and therefore we have to have that restraint as well.
Most institutions in India have not been able to live up to the purpose that they were set up for, with a few honourable exceptions. Several MPs I spoke to in Parliament today were dead set opposed to the Lokpal going through, even this evening. It's really testimony to the voice of the Indian people being manifested in the anger that we saw out on the streets that's forced the political establishment to take notice and to push through a bill that several parties and MPs, when you speak to privately, still disagree with. Let's hope that all those people who came out to protest and demand the Lokpal bill stay engaged, because this really is a new way in which bills are being drafted and pushed through, and the voice of the people is overriding the voice of the Neta or the self-interest of the Neta. This is a new commitment, a new engagement that we're seeing. For joining us on Center Stage tonight, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Pinky Anand, thank you very much.